Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So this is going to be my first long form video, so I'm kind of excited. I've never actually just sat here and talked the whole time, so let's see how it goes. And I want to talk about something that's been like a really big thing in my life and always on my heart, which is mental health, especially anxiety. And I love videos that get right to the point, so come on. So I'm 28 right now, but when I was growing up, I felt like anxiety was still like a very taboo thing. Like it almost meant that you need to go to a mental hospital, like you need help immediately. And I would say in my early 20s was the first time I went to a therapist, and I was just explaining to her like, the way I would feel. Like I would get super sweaty, I would get nervous, like I would be so exhausted, but at the same time, like I still loved life, but I just had no energy to just do simple tasks or be present. Like I would struggle breathing. I thought I had like asthma problems. I would have acne. And she asked me, she was like, do you think you have anxiety? And I was like, I don't think so, because typically when I would hear about anxiety, it's just like people that lock themselves in a room and can't interact at all. And I felt like I could do some of those things, but on days where my head was racing a lot, I just wasn't present at all. Anyone with anxiety knows that from the time you kind of found out that you had it up until now, it's a very up and down journey, managing your symptoms, and a lot has to do with your stresses or just what's going on in life. Like for me personally, I hold my breath a lot, and I kind of don't realize it until I'm kind of gasping for air. It's like I'm always kind of in a panic, and it happens to me a lot when I'm at the gym, which I love to do because every time I move my body I feel better, but it depends like how many people are there. If things are crowded, affects a lot of the way that I'm breathing. Sometimes it even happens, at home. If I'm, stressed about something, I'll find myself having to gasp for breath a lot. And then there was a point in time when I kind of thought like I might have had like a twitch, but it was from holding my breath so much that like my body would almost like jerk me to remember to breathe. And I remember I went to a doctor for it because I'm like, I'd never had this before. And it kind of started happening when I moved to Houston about 3 years ago from California. I kind of developed that thing, and it's slowly like gone away. And I only now really notice it if, like a lot is going on in my life basically. Also with anxiety, I kind of have depressive like episodes, and I've never gotten to the point where I necessarily didn't want to be around anymore, but I was doing things that were very destructive. Like during COVID, there was a point in time, I don't remember what year necessarily it was, but I had a lot going on in life, and I was so mentally checked out that my body had to almost go into survival mode. I wasn't eating, I wasn't drinking. I would wake up so dizzy. I couldn't even tell when I was hungry anymore. I would just eat out of habit, and it would be like Chex Mix, or it would be like a piece of bread, because I just like my mind was just like a million other places. And even now, like of course I'm a woman, I always am wanting to improve myself, but I really appreciate my body, because when I couldn't take care of myself, it basically took over. And I really think that's why I was able to heal, just internally before my mind could kind of catch up and just get better. Even with the struggle of having anxiety, for me personally, I don't feel like I'll ever be able to cure it completely. It kind of just feels like a personality trait at this point, but I've done a couple of things to help me through it. So I've gone to therapy a couple times. I do breathing exercises. I try to be more conscious of my breathing, even though that's the thing I struggle with the most. I journal, I read, I rest when I need to, and then I really just try some days to take it easy on myself. Like if my mind is just racing and my, anxiety is kicking in, and I might have to cancel on plans, I can't respond that day, or I really kind of have to check out in a sense of, like I need to take care of me, I don't feel guilty about doing those things anymore. And overall, my journey with anxiety has just, come with a lot of grace and love. Before I really realized what was going on, I would say yes to a lot of things, even though mentally it would drain the life out of me. And I really started to hold on to that saying that no is a complete sentence. And I try to apply that, to my life a lot if, I'm just not feeling it that day, or whatever it is that's being asked of me. One thing I am really grateful for now, though, is that there's just more conversation about anxiety. Growing up, I didn't really know how to express myself to the people around me, what was going on or what I was feeling. And, some people don't even have somebody to lean on or access to therapy like I did, which, kind of helped me along in my journey. And that's why I really like the online space because you can kind of find big creators, small creators, whoever, who, you might not relate to their whole story, but, just hearing some parts of it that you do relate to make you feel less alone.